Executive Director of the American Technical Ed Association, and I want to thank all of you for getting here. I know many of you had a harrowing trip. We're used to sharing our traveling stories in Minnesota, where I'm from, but there's also traveling stories of flying through Dallas and Houston, and so really glad you're all here. Our program is the Technical Education Innovations to Build Tomorrow's Workforce. And before we start, I want to have a welcome from the chair of the Inside Committee that did the work, Mr. Gene Dudley, Alabama Workforce.
Well, first of all, I want to welcome everybody to the great state of Alabama, and we sure do appreciate everybody making the trek to Orange Beach, Alabama. I hope that you will at least maybe today get an opportunity to go see the beach, because I think the weather may change on us. We did not order all of this wind, okay? We did not. This is not the norm, in case you were wondering. We are so proud to have you here. We worked really hard to put together a really terrific conference for you. We want you to be welcome. There's lots of great seafood here, and some of my friends that are located with our colleges down this area, obviously we'd love for you to go out and spend lots of money and buy lots of good things and take back some souvenirs and come back again to see us. And if there's anything that we can do to help you while you're here for the conference, please don't hesitate to call on us. We're at your beck and call. Thank you so very much, and enjoy your conference.
Thank you, Gene. It's been an outstanding team, and they'll all be introduced later today. A little bit about ATEA. Make sure I got this right. Paul Young is our president of our board, and he is the president of Northern Wyoming Community College District. We've got a Wyoming table over there, and some of them might be the first time at Orange Beach, I'm guessing. Then we have our host, Dr. Mark Heinrich and Mr. Tim Alford, who will be introduced later officially. They're co-chairs of this conference, so let's give them a round of applause. And then here is the committee, Gene Dudley, who was introduced, Annette Funderburk, Trish Jones, Linda Carter, Linda Martin, and Linda Bryan, who is integral to the registrations and everything working. And we have a blank. And then I'm Dr. Sandra Krebsbach. And now our first plenary session. We are very pleased to have two plenaries today, and they represent, one is a cohort that comes out of the IvyTech system in Indiana, and the other is a collaboration around mechatronics through AMTech, led by Mary Kay Bredesen from Everett, Washington. So with that, I'm going to introduce the moderator of the first session, and that is Dr. Steve Wendell. He's the director of the National Center for Manufacturing at Sinclair Community College, and their biographies are in the program. And you'll see that he has also been instrumental in Project Lead the Way. So with that, I will ask the first plenary to come up and introduce your members, and we will begin. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra, for the introduction and the welcome to Orange Beach. It's nice to be here. I'm from Ohio, from Indiana. They can really appreciate the weather, even if it is a bit windy. So with that in mind, again, my name is Steve Wendell with Sinclair Community College in Dayton, Ohio. And I think we'll introduce the panelists in a chronological order as we move forward. So if you'll sit tight, we'll introduce these folks as it's appropriate. We've got a lot of things to try to step through this afternoon, and with that in mind, they listed me as a moderator only because I started this snowball. these are the real leaders of what's going to be happening, and you'll see that pretty quickly. It'll be evident. So with that, I'm serving as the principal investigator for a National Science Foundation project. And this is not a plug for Sinclair Community College. So even though you see the logo at the bottom and the color up there, think about engaging your logo at the bottom and maybe change the color scheme. SME stands for Science, Mathematics, and Engineering Division, so that's where I'm housed. What are the top 3 challenges at your program or division or institution? You probably have the list at the top of your head pretty quickly, right? Okay. This goes back to circa 2013, and this was the list that was generated for Sinclair in my Science, Mathematics, Engineering Division. So number 1, 2, and 3 in that order. And I'll throw them all up there, and I'll start from the bottom up just to provide some background for the project. So number 3 on the list, we have been partners with the University of Dayton at Sinclair. We're the 2-year feeder college for many of the students that go on there for an engineering technology degree. We're also partners with launching our National Science Foundation Center for Manufacturing Technology. So that ATE program started back in '94. We were one of the first centers that were out there and awarded program within manufacturing. So that's kind of the background or the history of the beginning point for that. More recently, we've had several different awards. As a matter of fact, Sinclair, I believe, is the largest award recipient for community colleges for grants and subgrants through the National Science Foundation. So that's what we work on. We're connected with the University of Dayton back in '94. If you fast forward, we've had several projects since then. And at about 2013, this was the list of challenges we had as our division. You can insert your list here, but when you take a look at the economy and the way that things were turning, at about 2013, we were looking at enrollment. As the economy picked up again, students were getting jobs. So certainly that was one. The other one of particular interest to our project was the leadership within our division. So 10 of the 14 leaders had been there only 2 years or less. So as a project, that kind of led to our work here, and it really has very little to do with Sinclair. We'll get to IvyTech and that model in just a moment. Before or as I do that, I want to try to outline some folks, not necessarily the panelists up here, but I want to recognize Dr. Ron Bennett. He's not here with us today, but he serves as the co-author for the book that was kind of the start point for what we do in our leadership project. And then the folks listed at the top of the list there, so I'm surrounded by great people. The folks at the top of the list are the co-PIs on the project. So Ron Bennett, Mohammed Zari, and then the folks that were listed as panelists include Niaz Latif, and then someone mentioned travel before. Also, Szakaly was supposed to be here. I think he's going to be here later. His flight was delayed. So Sue will speak to some of the things as well as the rest of the panel here regarding the cohort that's going through the process right now. So the other folks joining us up here include Sue Smith, Susan Perry, Burl Turnpaw, and I also want to recognize Lana Rux. She's our external evaluator for the project. So that's kind of the background of the project itself. I just went, I'm looking at the screen, yeah. So from a project summary standpoint, I mentioned Dr. Bennett before. He has the book, Leadership for Engineers. It's the Magic of Mindset. That is kind of the cornerstone for where we started, what will turn into both a personal and professional development plan. And it's important that those two things be combined, we found. And we started this project with, is that something I'm doing? We started the project with that in mind, and we found that it's been very beneficial in the development of leaders when they're taking a look at stepping through this program. The bottom line for this is that it's also an action learning project. So it's not something on top of what you're typically doing. It's built into what you're required to do, whatever your leadership capacity project might be at the time. We're currently in year 3 of a 3-year project. Cohorts 1 and 2, some quick summary results from feedback, and you take a look at the slides. We try to improve our process each time, and you can see that the second cohort was improved over the first. Here's a group of photos of the first couple of cohorts. We met the first time and incorporated industrial tours. So the first group, we took a look at Rolls-Royce in Indianapolis. Folks that were in the first cohort happened to be from Western Kentucky University, so they hosted the second cohort, and the location there, cohort number 2, toured the Corvette assembly plant down in Bowling Green. And if I pull out the laser pointer, and this is the key component for also making an introduction into how we tie some of this all together. Some of the folks that were in cohort 2 include the 3 folks up here, and they'll be speaking to the development of cohort number 3. So as we get farther into it, the best way to introduce a IvyTech project is actually dealing with partnerships, and I'll start with the gentleman from Purdue. So when we take a look at partnerships, Sinclair's had a long working relationship with Purdue University, and as it turns out, IvyTech also has a strong relationship with Purdue University, and in particular here, it's Purdue Calumet. So Niaz, the floor is yours to take us forward from here.
Thank you all. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? I could be louder.
If you
Thank you, Steve, and thank you, everyone. I just want to tell you, I must confess, I always go and try to steal the best practices with the due permission from everyone. So I heard about Steve Wendell a long time ago, and then I know that he has been doing all the exciting things about manufacturing, and he has an excellent record of getting NSF funding. So we partner with Steve Wendell in the area of manufacturing. I have the privilege of serving Society of Manufacturing Engineering Accreditation Committee, so we all understood what are needs for the expansion of the manufacturing education and level of the excellence that we need and meet the demand of the workforce development. Having said that, we also found, we have been very fortunate, we did get NSF funding with partnership with IvyTech. Atso Sikorsky is not here. He has been an excellent partner for Purdue University Calumet. We wrote a grant and we got a workforce development grant in the area of mechatronics and industrial machinery mechanics. As a follow-up, then we thought that we write another grant, which we did, and we came up with another U.S. Department of Labor grant for workforce development, 300 people in the area of mechatronics, technician, and industrial machinery mechanics. While we are doing that, we realized that to make a difference in the manufacturing education and technology education, we ought to do something with that leadership within that discipline. And Steve and I met with ATEA, and we decided that we'll write a grant so that we can get funding from National Science Foundation where we do the leadership capacity building. At that time, we thought we focus on the two-year university and two-year colleges and the four-year university, and focusing on the manufacturing educators, brought them in a location and go through this leadership capacity building workshops, sessions, seminar, and learn from each other. We did it good for the first year. For the second cohort, it did make a difference at their own institution and at their personal development that Steve was talking about. It has a two-pronged approach, a personal development plan for the individual leaders, at the same time organizational plan which will make a difference in the technology education and manufacturing education. Then we found that on the third cohort we switched gear a little bit. We thought that we would have a larger impact system-wide if we partner with the IvyTech community college system in the state of Indiana. We had excellent leadership. Purdue University Calumet has an outstanding partnership with IvyTech Community College in the state of Indiana, and then the expertise that we got from the Sinclair Community College. All three of us jointly came up with this third cohort program, which you will learn more detail about it. We believe that this particular third cohort has the largest impact in the technology and manufacturing education in the state of Indiana, which we believe that can be replicated at other institutions with similar system. We believe that it will turn into the gold standard of this kind of changes for enhancing and achieve the excellence in the manufacturing education and technology education. So I am very privileged to be partnering in this effort. We look forward to doing the same thing over and over again, and I'm glad that I'm in the state of Indiana where I can, again, steal the best practices from all my colleagues throughout the state. Thank you again.
So you see on the screen photos of the first couple of cohorts, and then third cohort, we just finished up our workshop for today, a couple of days prior to the start of this conference. We've been working on it. The different groups have met, but the unique thing is, Nia has indicated, all of the folks as part of this cohort are from IvyTech Community College. And to start that, in cohort number 2, also developed, or not developed, but found leaders within that system, and those are the folks that are sitting up in front of you today. So they were a part of cohort number 2. They're the leaders of cohort number 3. And with that, I'll turn the floor over to Sue Smith.
I
Should
don't,
be able to drive from that.
okay, thanks. I don't have slides. I just have the introductory. Where are we? Which way do we go? Keep going?
One more slide.
Oh, here we go. Okay, I have brought our entire technology team nearly today. IvyTech Community College is a statewide system. We're singly accredited statewide. We have 150,000 students across the state, about 32 campuses, and numerous sites. And we are also the manufacturing state in the United States. We are the largest concentration of manufacturing. So we have a big challenge. Our president came in and decided to split us up into 4 divisions. So we have the Health Sciences Division, we have the Transfer Division, we have the Business and IT Public Services Division, and then we have the Technology Division. So as a college, and thinking of the college and the state, the most critical division for Indiana happens to be the Technology Division. And you'll see these folks present today the plan that we came up with. But I have to tell you that about a year ago, several of them didn't even know each other and had never worked together. So we've come a long way with this plan and this process. I'm not going to tell you it was easy because, you know, they made it look easy, but it wasn't easy. When you do any sort of leadership training, and all your schools do leadership training, and I've been through lots of leadership training, but I have to say, looking at it from a professional and a personal plan is really something that you should do. And you should do it, you know, every 4 or 5 years, because it really was a challenging venture. And I feel like, and I know they feel the same way, I just want to go, phew, you know, I mean, we're through it, and we've got a plan. So anyway, I'd like to thank you all for coming. Really appreciate it. We're going to have these folks come up and tell you about what they did and how they did it, and what the strategy is. So what we'll be doing today is we'll be giving you the entire strategy for our technology division for the coming 3 years. So this is how we're going to plan it. But what we did was Atso and I, we all worked together, and after we'd gone through the first cohort or the second cohort, and it was really good, we decided that we would try to put all the technology deans through it, and this is the tool we would use. And so, you know, we didn't do anything earth-shattering, and there's no new magic bullet here or anything like that. But what we did was we came together in a team-building capacity, and we all got together, and there was nothing else there. It was in Valparaiso, Indiana, and we sat down and we did some team building. And the end of that was a SWOT analysis where we took a hard look at the technology division statewide and studied the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats. And it came out that 4 major themes, really 4 major themes came through. And so one of them was marketing and recruiting for students, faculty and staff, just recruiting and professional development and structure. And then equipment and our quality delivery, that was one session or one group, and metrics. And so the way it happened is all of the deans decided that they would go into a specific group, wherever they had a passion. One lead or one dean became the leader of one of those 4 groups. And then they participated back and forth. Some participated in more than one. But we organized the whole plan around vision and strategic objectives, strategic initiatives, and the desired or future results. And so it really became, what do we want to be, how are we going to get there, and what do we want to look like, or you know, what do we see ourselves in 5 to 10 years. So the vision, and I will
I will let others just talk about that, but basically the overall vision is we wanted to be the best technology division in the country. And I know you all have great technology divisions, but ours is the best now, so just so you know. But I couldn't be more proud of these folks. I did not do anything other than just back off. And sometimes that's the best thing a leader can do is just back off. And they've done all this work themselves. I want them to have time to show it to you. It's extremely impressive. And if you could save your questions, write them down, save them to the end. They'll be around here to answer questions. They'll be here, some of them for the rest of the week. Please feel free to pick their brains. They're the geniuses. They're the subject matter experts. And so we'll start with our marketing team, which is the toughest strategy probably.
Thank you, Sue. Good afternoon. I'm Mike Szakaly, Division Dean in Evansville, Indiana, IvyTech. I'd like to thank Susan Perry, my colleague that assisted me with this process, Teresa Hess, and Claire Burrs as well. Thank you. We chose marketing because it's probably the one that's most frustrating. We go to our marketing department and we ask for a couple $100,000 to get our message across, and they don't have any money. So we've got maybe some creative, frustrating solutions, and we think we'll share those with you. We want to be the industry-recognized, credit-bearing, economic and workforce development leader in the state of Indiana with our students as well as our corporate partners. The NSF Leadership Training Grant provided all we deans the opportunity to meet for 3 days, cuss and discuss and take apart our system, come back with the SWOT analysis, identify common themes and issues, and try to work together over the last 12 months to maybe come up with some ideas to make us stronger and better servants to our students. Our vision statement probably is not dissimilar to your own. We want to be the first choice. Again, we're about economic and workforce development in our state, both on the credit-bearing side and the non-credit training and development side. Our primary goal is to decrease the skill gap and enhance the quality of life for all Hoosiers. The process, playing off our vision statement, a committee was formed. We, as Sue mentioned, we're the largest singly accredited in the nation with serving 150,000 students. We're dissected into 14 regions, and those regions are a 7-hour drive from north to southern Indiana. They